We share similar goals with the next speaker. As Commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families, Angelo McClain is committed to ensuring that every child live in a home that is free from abuse and neglect, and to strengthen families and communities. That's the core of our work at Close to Home. Please welcome Angelo McClain as we congratulate him for being named the Life Working Day Champion.
It's really cool for me to be introduced by someone from close to home. I've seen a number of your programs and Elizabeth and Amy, the good work you guys do. And I remember being in a situation where one of the young men presented, 16-year-old, and he talked about it. If you see something, do something. If you hear something, do something. If you know something, take some action. And that's really stuck with me. It's good to know that you guys are teaching the next generation to stand up. I did want to recognize a couple of elected officials who were just in the room. Representative Alice Fox. Representative Alice Wolf. Representative Paul Donato. Being an African American man, it's really good for me to see so many men of color here today, and it's good to see everybody here, but for me particularly men of color. And I just would like to simply say to the men of color, hey man, how you doing? And that hey man is a really important thing to me, and it really was important into the formation of my identity. When I was a young 10-year-old, and believe it or not, I was 10 at one point in time, I was watching my black and white TV on the east side of Kansas City, Missouri, and I saw old men, young men, African American men, black men carrying signs way above their heads. And the signs read, I am a man. And I thought, what's up with that? My 10-year-old sort of conceptualization of the world said, isn't it obvious that they're men? And as I made my way through pre-adolescence and puberty and into adolescence, and began to emerge from being a boy to being a man, I began to have some understanding of what those four words meant. And I began to notice too that the brothers, when they saw me, they would say, hey man, how you doing? When other folks saw me, they say, hey boy, what's going on? What are you doing? I begin to say, hey, I'm 6 feet tall, I'm 160, 170 pounds. Why aren't these people saying, hey man, how you doing? Why are they greeting me with this, hey boy, what's going on kind of thing? And so then I remembered back to 1967, 1968, and seeing those African-American men holding those signs that said, I am a man. And I said, you know what, I got to adopt that as my mantra. I keep hearing people with all this hey boy stuff. They're trying to tell me I'm not a man. I got to counterbalance that with something. So I began to say, I am a man. And then I added to that, I am a man and I'm taking care of my business. And as I got older and got married, I added to that, I am a man, I'm taking care of my business, and I'm taking care of my family's business. And as I got more involved in the community, I added to that, and I'm helping take care of the community's business. And as I took on the job of commissioner of the Department of Children and Families, and some people have said it's one of the hardest jobs in the Commonwealth. Most days I don't believe that. Some days I do. You know, I said, I am a man. I got to take care of my business, my family's business, help with the community's business, and I got to take care of the department's business. And one of the really important things of taking care of business within the department is making sure that all of our kids, all of our families are safe and free from harm. And as I arrived at the department, I began to understand and learn that we had a number of children who were gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or questioning, and that these youth deserve the same protection as all of our other kids. Then I began to learn we had families wherein there was gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or questioning. And we had to make sure that things were being taken care of, that business was being taken care of in those families. So I've added to that mantra in terms of taking care of business. I got to make sure that all of our families, all of our kids, and all of the women are protected from situations of domestic violence and sexual assault. And I know that as we think about taking these messages back to our communities, we've heard some great messages from a distinguished panel today of basically saying we want to encourage everybody in the community to stand up and say enough is enough, no more violence. Women ought not live in their own home, in their own intimate relationships, and be dogged out. They shouldn't be beat. No one should be putting their hands on them. They shouldn't be controlled. They shouldn't be dominated. They should be loved and treated with respect. And in that message, we're not saying we'll just take this back to some communities, but not all communities. The message is take it back to all the communities. And I did want to say to Gunner, I want to say, hey man, thank you for helping bring that issue to light in terms of the communities of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and questioning, that we got to take the message back to all communities. Because I know some of you are familiar with words that Sojourner Truth, back in 1857, was it? When she said, and ain't I a woman? We don't want to say to any of our women that, no, you're not a woman. So hey man, thank you. I begin to learn. So I'll tell you that if you want to give me a hug, a sort of nonverbal hug, all you got to do is two words to say, hey man. Because you're confirming for me that I am a man and I'm taking care of business. And I encourage you, if you want to reach out to Gunner and say, hey man, go for it. I kind of want to end my remarks by saying, let's make sure that we're doing all we can do to end violence against women. I was at an event with the District Attorney Leone in Cambridge. The communities of Cambridge, Arlington, and Belmont were coming together to create a high-risk assessment team to make sure in situations where women were possibly at high risk, that the community was bringing all the resources together to make sure that they were taking care of business. And during that event, he spoke strongly, as he, see, the way he spoke today, he speaks strongly. He spoke strongly about the White Ribbon Campaign and people stepping up. And I said to myself, I'm not doing enough. I'm a White Ribbon ambassador. I ain't doing enough. So I went back to my community and spoke to anybody I could talk to. I'd say, hey, have you heard about this White Ribbon thing? And then I would say, here's what it is. And it's men taking that place to say, enough is enough. We're not going to stand for this. Thank you.